Today I'm going to discuss about nutrition and feeding of dog and cat. Nutritional objective of feeding dogs and cats, they are similar with to other livestock and poultry, because we also provide balanced ration or feed to the dogs and cat to support normal growth, to sustain normal physical and mental health and activity of the dogs and cat, and also to fulfill the genetic potentiality of the dogs and cat in conformation. That means almost all the breeds of dogs and cats, they have their own genetic makeup, and therefore in regards to their requirement of nutrient also there may be some variation, and according to the breed and according to the type of dogs and cats, actually we have to provide, we may require to provide different kind of feed or ration to provide for optimum reproductive performance. Okay, for growth and for good health as well as for optimum reproductive performance of the dogs and cats also, we have to provide balanced ration at optimum level to achieve old dog and cat during when age will advance, and when the dogs or cats will be older. In that case, there may be problem of obesity, and there may be problem of liver, there may be problem of heart, and this way, similar to human beings, they may also have some problems. And regarding feed intake also, they may have some problems. Regarding digestion also, they may have some problems. And accordingly, actually, we have to see in their feeding. That means what type of food we will provide to them so that the old dogs and cats, they can digest properly, and there will be any problem in their health. And also to give enjoyment. We rear the dogs and cats as pet animals. So therefore, when the dogs and cats will be healthy, we will get our mental health, our means will be happy. So for that also, when we will provide balanced ration or balanced diet, then only they will be healthy, and the owner or we may be happy. There are different factors which affect not only intake of the feed or diet in case of dogs and cats, but also quality of the feed ingredients or quality of the feed, whatever we are providing to them. Kind of diet means there are different kinds of diets available for feeding to the dogs and cats. Canned foods are available, some dry foods are available, as well as we can also formulate feed by ourselves for the dogs and cat depending on the requirement. And depending on the types of food actually we are providing to them, intake of feed or food will be different. And also quality wise also foods or feeds will be different depending on their types. Next one is procedure of preparation and storage. The procedures which we follow for preparation of the balanced feed for dogs and cat and storage condition, these two will also affect quality of the feed. Bioavailability of nutrients. Bioavailability of nutrients is very important, and it has direct relationship with the quality of the feed. Because a particular feed may be well balanced in almost all the nutrients, but the nutrients, if are not available for absorption, or if the feed cannot be digested properly by the dogs and cats, in that case, it will be of no value. Therefore, we have to utilize feed ingredients in the rations of or in the feed of dogs and cat, so that all the feed ingredients are acceptable to them. If the feed ingredients are not acceptable, in that case, there will be of no value of the feed or diet, although it may be very rich in nutrients. Then concentration of chemical contaminant. This is true particularly for the ready to feed or diet available for feeding to the dogs and cat. That means whatever dogs food or cat food are available in the market, they utilize many colors. They may use some additives or preservatives, and sometimes like to make the feed attractive for the dogs and cat, they may also incorporate some of the chemicals, and which may not be very much good for health of the dogs and cat. And this aspect also we have to think about, and this aspect is very important because it will affect not only the utilization of the dog diet or cat diet, but also it will affect health of the dogs and cat. Although both dogs and cats, all of you know that they are carnivores. They like meat, but still we can provide to them vegetarian food. Like we can provide rice, we can provide any other cereals, then milk and milk product we can provide along with other diet to them. But they have the preference for meat. And in this regard, we can say that they have also omnivorous habit. Although they are carnivore, but they are omnivorous. That means they can utilize both some herbs also they can utilize, cereals also they can utilize, milk also they can utilize along with the meat. Differences between dogs and cat. There is not much difference between dogs and cat in regards to the digestive system. Of course, capacity of the different parts of the digestive system may vary because size of the dog is somewhat more than that of the size of the cat. But there are, of course, some differences in regards to the nutritional requirements. Cats have special requirements for essential fatty acid, arachidonic acid. They have special requirement, and it is dietary essential for the cats. Similarly, they need preformed vitamin A. They cannot utilize beta carotene. They also need amino sulfonic acid, taurine. They have dietary requirement of taurine. They also need nicotinic acid. So similarly, there are some other special requirement also for the cats. Cats are sensitive to number of secondary compounds. Similarly, dogs are also sensitive to numbers of secondary compounds. That means they are sensitive in their feed intakes. Digestive tract morphology, as I told you, there may be some differences in size and capacity of the digestive tract. Otherwise, for both, in both dogs and cats, more or less similar. These are the peculiarity or peculiar aspect of cat nutrition or feline nutrition. Cats has a shorter small intestine, lack of cecum with bacterial flora, and shorter transit time. And this is the reason, because of this shorter transit time, this is the reason actually dog or cats prefer to eat small meals at frequent interval. It is not like dog. They will consume only small meal. You may provide very delicious meal to the cats, but they will not consume. They will consume little quantity, and after that, after some time, they will again consume. And this is their habit. And this is the peculiarity. And therefore, we have to provide small meals at frequent interval to the cats. Cats tend to eat and drink limited quantities on numerous occasions when fed ad libitum. So this is what I told you already. Cats are unable to synthesize arachidonic acid from linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is an essential amino acid. There are 3 essential amino acids: linoleic acid, linolenic acid, and arachidonic acid. And arachidonic acid can also be synthesized from linoleic and linoleic acid. But the cats, they cannot synthesize arachidonic acid from linoleic acid or linolenic acid. Because of that, arachidonic acid is dietary essential for the cats. And taurine, it is an amino acid, and it is dietary requirement for cats because they have limited ability to synthesize it from other sulfur-containing amino acids. Usually, in other animals, it is synthesized from sulfur-containing amino acid. All of you know sulfur-containing amino acid, no? Cysteine. It is a sulfur-containing amino acid. So taurine can be synthesized, but in case of cat, they cannot synthesize taurine from sulfur-containing amino acids. Cat's requirement of protein is high. They need more protein. They need more protein than the dog. Cats have higher dietary requirement for arginine and niacin. Niacin can be synthesized from tryptophan. In other animals, niacin is synthesized from tryptophan. But the cats, they cannot synthesize niacin from tryptophan. Therefore, niacin is dietary essential. And similarly, arginine is required for this one, synthesis of urea in the liver. You know that ammonia is converted to urea in the liver, and after that it is excreted to the urine. But cats, they need arginine because arginine they need, and if arginine is deficient in cat's diet, in that case, what will be happen? Ammonia will be accumulated, and there may be ammonemia. There may be ammonemia. That condition, that is presence of ammonia in the peripheral blood. So the ammonia toxicity may occur. Cats lack enzyme necessary for conversion of beta carotene to vitamin A. So do you know the enzyme which is required for conversion of beta carotene to vitamin A? Anybody? Do you know what enzyme is required for conversion of beta carotene to vitamin A? And this enzyme, of course, we have. And most of the animals, they have that particular enzyme. And because whatever food or whatever vegetables we take, in almost all the vegetables and feed or food, vitamin A is present in the form of beta carotene. And after that, it is converted to vitamin A in the body, inside the body. So do you know the enzyme? Anybody? The enzyme is, no, enzyme is dioxygenase. The enzyme is dioxygenase, which is required for conversion of beta carotene to vitamin A. It is there. Later on also it is there. Characteristics of pet foods. So there are 3 different types of pet food, and of course the diet should be balanced. These are the common things. Diet should be balanced for essential nutrients and should be formulated according to their requirement. It should be cooked except in cases where other treatments like pasteurization, irradiation, etc. have been suggested. We should not provide raw food to the dogs and cat. We should not provide raw meat. We should not provide raw egg to the dogs and cat. It should be cooked or half boiled. Then only we have to provide to them. In case of green vegetables also, if we want to provide to the dogs or to the cats, it should be half boiled. And these are the different types of pet food, that means dogs and cat foods available in the market. Dry food. Dry food means it is dry. Moisture percentage is less. 5 to 12% moisture will be present only. Semi-moist food, there may be little bit of moisture. 15 to 30% moisture will be present. And canned food, here moisture will be more because it will be some preservative or this type of liquid things will also be there in the can. Dry foods are available as biscuits, mixers, and meal or flakes. Generally, meals and flakes actually, like the owners, they prefer. They are generally rich in carbohydrates. The dry foods, they are rich in carbohydrates. They are, means comparatively, you can say they are comparatively rich in carbohydrates. Good fat is 5 to 10% on diameter basis. 5 to 10% means whatever. This is I am talking about the dry foods available in the market. They are generally rich in carbohydrates, good fiber, good fat, maybe 5 to 10% on diameter basis. And they are generally cereal based. That means grains are generally used for their preparation, and therefore actually they are rich in carbohydrates, and they have very little protein concentrates. these foods may or may not be supplemented with vitamins and minerals. That means vitamins and minerals level or concentration will be very less. But since they are dry, they have long shelf life provided properly stored. We can store the dry food for longer duration. So generally, actually, consumers, or it's not consumer actually, owners, pet owners, they prefer dry food. Digestibility is less than semi-moist or canned food. Since it is dry, actually, because of that, digestibility might be less. And since they have more protein, less fat, the less percentage will be more as compared to other food. And it may be the reason actually why digestibility will be less. And another reason may be, since it is rich in carbohydrate, fiber percentage may be high. Semi-moist food. Here, they have very good digestibility. And when semi-moist, actually, when some moisture will be more, in that case, actually, intake will be better. And since moisture will be there, digestibility will also be more. Meat and vegetable proteins are included in case of semi-moist foods. Of course, these chemicals may be included so that they can be protected from spoilage. And most susceptible to dogs and cats. They like semi-moist food than the dry food, because for dry food actually they have to grind, means like mastications will be required. And when mastication is there, all of you know that for mastication energy will be required and some energy will be lost. So this is what you can say it will contribute to the heat increment, and that type of things will be there. So in case of semi-moist, since moisture will be there, they like to consume, they like to take. Moisture content is generally 15-30%. Added humectant. These things are added to make the food acceptable, more acceptable, like sugar is added, salt is added, that glucose may be added. And meat byproducts, soya, vegetable protein concentrate, cereals, fats, sugars are used in this type of products. Then canned food, available in cans and attractive for dogs and cats, based on meat and fish-based products. And the cereal also may be there. Reliable, safe, and convenient to serve. Reliable means since it will be in cans, so it is safe. And suppose we can purchase cans, one cans will be sufficient for one day, thereby it may be reliable also and convenient. Highly palatable, particularly when carbohydrate is less, since it is meat-based. Most canned foods are balanced food, and digestibility is also good. Generally not given as whole food, but given mixed with biscuits or mixer. Safe, long shelf life, and these are the common ingredients. And homemade foods for dogs. Most of the dogs, dog as well as cat owners, they may not have the capacity to purchase that Royal Canine or Drolls, this type of ready-made food from the market. But they should not worry actually. In that case, we may suggestion to them so that they can feed balanced food to his or her dogs or cats. Means it is not like that we have to use only the foods available in the markets. Whatever we have, like cereals, milk, vegetables, meat, eggs, whatever we have, these ingredients also can be utilized to make balanced food for the dogs or cat. Here, this is one example for 20 kg body weight, 25 kg body weight, 30 kg body weight. Eggs, 2 numbers, milk. Both dogs and cats actually they like milk. Beef can be added, rice can be added a little bit. Of course, they do not prefer the cereal. They do not prefer. Dogs and cats, they do not prefer cereal. And when we provide cereal, in that case, definitely meat should be there along with the cereals. Then only they will consume. Otherwise, they are reluctant actually because they are carnivores. So that things also we have to look into. And iodized salt, vitamin and B complex, these things, minerals we can supplement. And this way, we can provide or we can prepare a feed of food. And of course, these things like milk should be boiled and other things should be cooked before feeding to the dogs or cats. This is for dog. This is for dog. And this is vegetarian. Some dogs or cat owner, they may be vegetarian, so therefore they may not like to cook meat in their home. And in that case, this way, like it is also possible to prepare balanced food for dogs by utilizing only the means vegetarian things. Soya here, like soybean meal or soya protein or soya, whatever soya products will be available, or pulses we can use along with milk, rice, or supplemented with vitamins and minerals. So this way means we can prepare the foods for dogs and cat at home also. Classification of pet foods based on nutrient content: complete food, complementary food, mixed biscuits, snacks, and treat. These things, I think all of you know what is treat, what is snack, what is biscuit. Actually, complementary food. Complementary food means it is not the complete food. Something, suppose we are preparing at home. To complement it, we can provide something purchasing from the market. So complementary. This thing also, like we can provide in the form of breakfast or in the form of evening food. These biscuits and other thing we can provide. Carbohydrates, whether carbohydrates are required or not for the dogs, because carbohydrate is what it is mainly we get from cereals, vegetables, isn't it? Since dogs they are carnivores, so whether carbohydrates will be essential to them or not, or if we do not provide carbohydrates, what will happen? Since they are carnivores, if we provide only meat, if we do not provide any carbohydrate or cereals, what will happen? Whether they will be healthy or whether there will be some metabolic problems. Here, the carbohydrates are physiologically essential, but not dietary. That means if we do not provide any carbohydrate also, if we provide only meat or if we provide only non-veg, in that case also they will be able to survive. Except for lactating beets, provided level of protein is high enough to have gluconeogenic amino acid for glucose. Gluconeogenic amino acid, all of you know, gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis means production of glucose from sources other than carbohydrate. When you provide less carbohydrate, in that case, protein quality should be more, so that some of the protein can be utilized by the dogs for synthesizing glucose, energy, for energy. Unless starches are well cooked, may cause diarrhea for fermentation, gas formation in the cecum. That means if we provide cereals and other things, instead of helpful, it may be harmful. Diarrhea may be there for fermentation in the cecum and gas formation. Acceptable level of carbohydrates for dog is 40 to 50% of the total energy of the diet. It is the acceptable, not more than 50%. Rest should be provided in the form of other things, means meat. Milk can be well digested by dogs, but digestive disorder reported if intake level is greater than 0.6 to 1 gram lactose per kg body weight per day. That is 10 to 20 ml of milk per kg body weight per day. These things we have to remember. Although they like milk, although dogs like milk, but we should not provide more milk. Okay. The recommended level of fiber is only, you see, 3.5 to 6% in the diet. In case of broiler also, it is 5%. Means they are like broilers. They are monogastric animals. I think all of you know what is monogastric animals, ruminant animals. So since they are monogastric, since they are non-ruminant, so fiber in the diet should be less. Protein, they need protein. Minimum dietary level should be 22 gram per kg, 22 gram per day for adult dog. Can be kept on meat alone, providing at a rate of 4 to 5% of body weight, provided enough calcium is available through bone. That means if we provide only meat, in that case, some sterilized bones should be provided to them, or some other calcium source should be provided to them. Feeding of raw eggs are not advisable because it may cause vomiting and diarrhea. And moreover, like since it contains this avidin. All of you know avidin. Raw eggs contain avidin, which combines with biotin, and thereby biotin becomes unavailable for absorption in the GIT, gastrointestinal tract. Therefore, we should not provide the raw eggs to the dogs, as well as to the cat also. We should not provide raw eggs. Raw fish also we should never be given at any circumstances, because they contain thiaminase enzyme, and thereby what will happen? Thiamine deficiency will occur. Although thiamine may be present in other ingredients of the ration or diet, but if we provide raw fish, it will cause artificial thiamine deficiency in dogs. The trypsin inhibitor of raw egg white may disturb the digestion, inducing diarrhea. This is also there. Trypsin inhibitor present in raw egg white. That is known as avidin, actually. Trypsin inhibitor, that is known as avidin. Dogs are known to selectively choose foods that are high in protein. They can choose. Dogs can survive on vegetarian diet as long as contains sufficient protein. Of course, protein should be there. They may survive, but they have the preference for protein. And if we provide more carbohydrate, as I told you, like the fermentation will be there, gas production will be there. In that case, there may be some digestive disturbances, and in that case, we have to provide some other medication, or some medication may be required. And it's for fat. Fat we can provide. Of course, we should not provide more fat. All of you know it is a normal things. When there will be more fat in the diet, it will affect the stability of other nutrients, because fat will form layers over the food, and thereby digestion will be affected. And dogs can utilize fat, but should not exceed 10% of the diet maximum. Otherwise, as I told you, the stability of the protein, the stability of the carbohydrate, if we are providing, will be affected, along with the availability of vitamins and minerals for absorption in the GIT. Continuous feeding of rancid fats is not advisable. Supply essential fatty acids that cannot be synthesized in the body and serve as carrier for important fat-soluble vitamins. Of course, because of that, means fat-soluble vitamins will be available. Food fats tend to enhance the taste and texture of the dog's food as well. This is known to you. Essential fatty acids are necessary to keep your dog's skin and coat healthy. For that also, fat should be there in sufficient quantities in the dog food. Deficiencies in the so-called omega-3 family of omega-3 fatty acids may be associated with vision problems and impaired learning ability. In case of dog, learning ability may also be affected. Therefore, omega-3 fatty acid, it is essential fatty acid, it is required. Ultra-low fat diets develop dry, coarse hair and skin lesions that become increasingly vulnerable to infection. This is also there. That means if we do not provide sufficient fat, or if fat is less, very less, in that case, what will happen? Hair will be very dry, hair will be very coarse, it will not be fine, and there may be some skin lesions. So these things are there. So daily recommended allowances of protein and fats for dogs. This is recommended allowances. Puppies, adult dog, pregnant and nursing dogs. Good protein. This is the requirement. Total fat 21 gram, 14 gram, 29, and this much is the requirement. Okay. Essentiality of minerals and vitamins. Minerals and vitamin, all of you know, and if there is deficiency, there will be specific deficiency symptoms. As for example, niacin is dietary essential for the cat, and if it is deficient, definitely blue tongue will be there. In case of dog also, blue tongue will be there. So this way, means if there is deficiency of all the minerals and vitamins, there will be some typical deficiency symptoms. And regarding that, you may have studied already. Water requirement, they need water. This is the approximate requirement of water. Of course, we should provide water, means ad libitum. That means freely water should be available for drinking to the dogs and cats. Energy requirement for different categories of dogs. These are the energy requirement, approximate requirement of energy in terms of metabolic body weight, not only in terms of live weight, in terms of metabolic body weight. And these things you try to remember. These things are, of course, important from, you can say, academic point of view. But if we want to provide like some strategies for the dog owners or cat owners regarding feedings, it means what should be provided in the breakfast, what should be provided in the lunch, what should be provided in the dinner. So that way, actually, if we have this kind of idea, actually, at approximately what should be the energy level, what should be the energy level for growth in the rations or in the diet of dogs and cats, you will be able to determine, and accordingly you will be able to give strategy to the dog or cat owners. You just try to remember these values. Energy requirement is found to be higher in male than female because of activity, maybe. The requirement per unit body weight decreases as dog's body weight increases. Requirement per unit body weight decreases as dog body weight increases. Okay, so because it is expressed in terms of surface area, not in terms of live weight. Calorie intake varies inversely with long-term changes in environment and temperature. It is understood. When dogs are kept in controlled environment with limited opportunity to exercise and are fed highly palatable nutrient diet, then obesity may result. This is also one of the very problem for the dog and cat owners. Not only dog, cat owner also. Energy requirement during stress, this should be increased. If it is 25%, 50%, and in severe stress, we have to increase 100%. Thumb rule for energy estimation of dogs. How we can approximately decide the energy requirement on the basis of body weight. Because this is very common. Owners will come to you, he will say or she will say that I have these 20 kg, 25 kg dogs. You just provide some dietary suggestion. Okay, this type of question definitely will face. And in that case, like this way, means on the basis of body weight, you can calculate the approximate requirement, and accordingly you can formulate your diet. In case of this is age variable are also there, 10%, 30%, 60%, depending on the age. And this is in continuation, moderate activity, heavy activity, 25% above maintenance, 60% above maintenance means extra we have to provide. Fever variable, when there will be fever, there will be requirement of more energy. Okay, and this is true for us also, for human being also. When we have fever, because there will be dissipation of heat. What is heat? This is energy. So we have to provide more energy. And for reproduction and lactation, also we have to provide more energy, particularly during the last trimester of pregnancy. 100% above maintenance. This is there during the last trimester of pregnancy. Factor affecting energy requirements. Physiological state. Physiological state, it may be body weight. It may be like, suppose if it is lactating, if the dogs are in gestation, then definitely energy requirement will be more. Big differences are also there. Environment, if it is cold, if it is very hot, there will be difference. Activity, if more activity, more energy. If less activity or sedentary work, no. If we provide the energy at maintenance level, it will be sufficient. Regulation of feed intake. If feed intake is more, definitely energy level may be reduced, and if feed intake is less, we can increase the energy level in the diet. Protein and fat requirements for dogs. This is the protein requirement, and this is the fat requirement. On an approximately, maintenance requirement is 4.8 gram per kg body weight. For growth, 9.6 gram per kg body weight. This is live weight, not metabolic body weight. Maintenance, 1 gram per kg body weight. Growth, 2.7 gram per kg body weight. These things you can remember. Feeding schedule. Here I will provide some feeding schedule. That means how you can provide feed to different categories of dogs. After that, I'll discuss about cat. So in case of pup, at 5 to 6 weeks of age, the pups can be weaned, and cow's milk and solid food can be provided. This is the weaning age, 6 weeks. 6 weeks means 1.5 months. After that, we can provide cow's milk, and we can provide some solid or semi-solid food to them. Puppy foods are available in the market. At 8 weeks of age, the pups can receive the same food as mature dog. That means by 8 weeks, they will be their digestive system will be mature. Full development will occur, and after that we can provide. After 2 months, we can provide adult food to pups also. And if in case of orphan, if mothers die immediately after, what is the process? It is what is called in case of like in case of cattle it is known as calving. In case of pig it is known as farrowing. So this way, in case of dog, what is, do you know term? What term is used? Means when giving birth. Then what term is used in case of dog? Anybody know? What is called?
Whelping.
Okay, whelping. So if mothers die immediately after whelping, in that case, these things we have to provide, or we can provide these things artificially: horse milk, cream, egg yolk, egg white, vitamin supplementation, citric acid, steamed bone meal. So this composition we can provide. And how we'll provide? 6 times per day for 3 weeks, followed by 5 times per day till they start eating solid food. That means you can say up to 6 weeks of age. Clear? Calculating the volume of milk to feed an orphan pups. This way we can provide. These things I think will be helpful to you for future use also. When we'll be vet, when we'll be appointed at vet, actually you will get more dog owners, particularly in towns and cities. Instead of getting big animal cases or pigs and this one poultry, your patient will be mainly dogs and cats. So these things you try to remember in case of this is for pups. And feeding formula, this way you can provide to them. But here I am again saying that better to provide nicely cooked food to the pups. Liquid milk also boiling. After that boiling, you have to cool and then you just provide. Feeding schedule for growing dogs. In case of growing dogs, this way we can provide cereal, milk. So this is like, suppose why I am providing, like, although commercial foods are available, but if you want to suggest to the dog and cat owners, if you want to suggest to the pet owners that what way he or she can feed his or her dogs, in that case you can suggest like this. Suppose cereals, any cereals, rice can be used, meat, any meat, maybe beef, maybe pork, and milk, maybe cow's milk, buffalo milk, whatever the owner is having. So this way, depending on the body weight, you can suggest 25, 20, 15. So these are the body weights, normal body weight, and along with that, one bone, fresh bone of goat and sheep. This way you can provide. And in absence of milk or meat, you see, in case of vegetarian food, 50 to 100 gram green leafy vegetables. GLV means green leafy vegetable, half boiled, or fresh fruit and an egg should be fed daily. And this is for mature dog. This is there. If meat and milk is not given, then 1 to 2 eggs should be given daily. So this is the schedule. This schedule in exam definitely will not come, but as a reference you can keep for your future use when you give that. This is very important actually. Feeding during pregnancy. Just I am showing. I'm not going to discuss this quantity. You just see this quantity, how it seems, and how we have to provide. Green leafy vegetables also you can provide. That means if we do not have meat or egg, we should not be worried. That means we will be able to manage or we will be able to formulate balancing by using whatever we have. This is for lactating dogs. This is for obese dog. This is the schedule. And modification. When there will be disease, definitely we have to see their diets. It is very essential actually for management of many diseases. And also it is essential actually for successful treatment. Cardiovascular disease. In case of cardiovascular disease, highly soluble and easily metabolizable diets or food should be provided. We should not provide dry food if there is cardiovascular disease, because consumption, mastication, it will involve. Low sodium with added potassium, low saturated fat, vitamin B complex, and taurine should be provided. In case of emergency, whole defeathered ground chicken It may be raw or cooked. If it is an emergency, if we do not have time to cook, in that case raw, but it should be grounded. We can use a mixture. Without added salt can be used. Okay, these are the diet. This way we have to modify the diets in case of cardiovascular disease, heart problem. In case of gastrointestinal disease, definitely I think you know that in case of constipation, we have to provide more fibrous diet. If it is diarrhea, less fiber diet. Things are provide milk. So this way means we have to decide depending on the condition. In case of any problem, nephritic disorders, a complete balanced diet with calorie requirement from non-protein sources. We should not provide meat. Low phosphorus and sodium with potassium, low protein and added water-soluble vitamins. So this type of balanced diet we have to provide. If it is respiratory disorders, in that case, complete balanced diet with high palatability added antioxidant vitamins, readily metabolizable carbohydrate with expectorant, glycerin, etc., and honey should be provided. In case of skeletal abnormalities, we have to see the calcium phosphorus ratio, and adequate vitamin A and D should be provided. Vitamin D is required for proper absorption of calcium phosphorus, all of you know, and there is relationship between calcium phosphorus vitamin D, all of you know. Extra protein should be provided, bone should be supplemented. And in case of diabetes and colitis, diabetes, all of you know, and these are this way. Complete and balanced diet for adult maintenance with high level of the complex carbohydrate, increased fiber level, including soluble fiber, moderate total dietary fat and calories. In case of urolithiasis, this way, like low protein, low purine food should be provided. In case of obesity, definitely energy should be curtailed. Less food intake should be made possible. Like if we provide more fibers thing, definitely energy intake will be less. Then protein feed intake will also be less, and we can provide more protein. In case of old dog, we have to provide easily digestible, easily metabolizable food. Low fat should be provided, low calories should be provided. We have to provide more protein with more supplementation. In case of liver disorders, low fat, low protein with high biological value, means high biological value protein, but low quantity. At low quantity, we have to provide highly digestible starch and sugars. We have to provide. This way, we have to manage. In case of surgical operation, these things we have to follow. And in case of cat, now I'll discuss very briefly about cat because time is only 12 minutes are there. I already told you about this. Cats like to consume small meals at frequent interval throughout the day. You see, 12 to 20 meals a day may be required for the cats. Most cats regulate intake so that they do not overeat and become obese. So this also they control, like what I can say. Not boy, I think the girls, means so that they do not become obese. Cats are neither nocturnal nor diurnal. These things you just, I think you know, and if you do not know, also you just search the internet. But this cats can differentiate various tastes. Okay, they have taste. That means they are somewhat. Cats are more selective in eating, I think, than the dogs. Cats generally do not prefer sweet flavor. They do not prefer sweet flavor. In case of dog, whatever you provide, I think they will take. But in cats, they have some preference. Cats have high affinity for certain amino acids like taurine. Need to all of you know because it is dietary essential. After birth, kittens are entirely dependent on the milk of queen for about 4 weeks. They will not consume anything. They will just consume milk of the queen. For 4 weeks means for 1 month. From fourth week, gradual replacement of queen's milk by other food can begin. By fifth week, they begin to eat queen's food. Means by fifth week, they will be mature. We can provide a similar food, and will start to eat finally mince or soft to moist food also. 7 to 8 weeks old, kittens can be separated from their mother and fed independently thereafter. That means this is the weaning age. By 2 months, we can wean them. Some peculiar aspect I have already discussed. So this is the enzyme dioxygenase, which is necessary for conversion of beta-carotene to vitamin A, for synthesis of vitamin A from beta-carotene. This particular enzyme is required. And another thing, cats have high level of phosphoenol pyruvate carboxy kinase, a gluconeogenic enzyme. Thus, liver does not homeostatically control blood glucose level. So this is that. It means blood glucose level may be high. Insulin secretion in cat is stimulated by the absence of amino acid rather than glucose. You see, this is the peculiarity. No, insulin secretion is stimulated by the presence of amino acid rather than glucose. Another one is there. Anyway. This is the nutrient requirement for cats, depending on the age. Energy requirement, protein requirement, okay, calcium phosphorus ratio, pregnancy requirement. This is MER, means metabolic energy requirement. Metabolic energy requirement into 1.1. Then this is protein requirement in case of during pregnancy. Okay, here of course protein requirement, it depends on the metabolic energy requirement. You see, second trimester metabolic energy requirement into 1.2. This is this way protein requirement is growth. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is energy requirement, not metabolic energy requirement. Sorry, this is energy requirement for pregnancy, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. After that, protein requirement. Okay. Lactation energy requirement. This is maintenance energy requirement into 2.4, and protein requirement. Maintenance requirement of protein into 2.4. That means we have to provide 2 times higher than the normal requirement in case of both energy as well as protein. Maintenance requirement, I think all of you know. What is maintenance? All of you know. Maintenance means for maintaining the normal body activities. For maintaining, in case of protein, without any loss of body weight. Body weight will not increase, body weight will not be decrease, it will be same. That is the maintenance equilibrium. Feeding of kittens. So it is already shown told to you that up to 4 weeks they will consume only queen's milk. For artificial feeding, in case of agalaxia or mastitis, or if something happen, it can be buffalo cow's milk. Buffalo cow milk can be fed, supplemented with egg yolk, cereal flour, cream, minerals, and vitamins at the rate of 10 to 15% of body weight per day. This artificial feeding should gradually increase to 20 to 25% of body weight. Artificial feeding should be done 4 times daily, since they require frequent meals. The artificial feeding can be stopped at the age of 3rd to 4th weeks of age, when kittens start nibbling the solid food of the dam. So this way we can manage. This is the feeding of weaned kitten after weaning. At what age? 7 to 8 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks. For optimum growth, at least 2 to 3 times daily we have to provide feed to the kittens. This is the minimum nutrient requirement. Okay, per kg dry food. Protein should be how much? This should be how much? This way. Okay. Then feeding of mature cats. Maintenance type of diet can be offered to cat after attaining 1 year of age. Adult cats should be fed as individual. During pregnancy also, that should be provided several times, particularly during the 3rd trimester of gestation. And during this particular time, when there will be growth of the fetus, definitely the stomach capacity of the digestive tract will decrease. And since they have the habit of taking small meals, therefore this time there will be very less consumption, and because of that actually we have to provide to them several times, otherwise their requirement will not be fulfilled, and accordingly something may happen. Palatability of diet is also important during the pregnancy, otherwise they will not consume. Feeding during lactation, quinine should be provided 2 to 3 times more than the maintenance requirement. Okay, food should be offered 2 to 3 times daily at least with limited drinking water at all the times. Okay, this should be remembered. This is very common problem, feline neurological syndrome or urinary calculi in cats. This is very common, and this is magnesium ammonium phosphate calculi. And why it is predisposes? It is predisposes by very high magnesium content in the diet. Ammonium in feline urine is usually high for cats, high protein requirement, and does intake. And moreover here, since arginine, as I told you, arginine is required for utilization ammonia for production of urea. If arginine deficiency, then also it will be automatically high. And these things actually will precipitate in the formation of this crystal or urinary calculi. It is very common. When consumption of magnesium by cat exceed 305 gram per kg diet, there is formation of magnesium ammonium phosphate crystal, and it will lead to feline neurological syndrome. So this is very common. So we should be take care of that. Then in case of feeding sick cats, liver disease, hypoglycemia, so these things are there. It is similar, somewhat similar to dogs, and diabetes mellitus, renal insufficiency, diarrhea. It is similar with dogs. In case of sick, the following feeds may be provided at the rate of 100 ml per kg body weight in 3 to 5 split meals at equal interval in the area to the cats. So these things we can provide to them. Then in case of vomiting, ascites, cardiac insufficiency, urolithiasis, these things we can do. And in case of old cat, what we can do, that should contain less fats and calorie. Monitoring body weight is important. Proteins should be provided at the rate of 3.75 gram per kg body weight at all age. Balanced vitamin and mineral supplements should be provided. Actually, during this time, similar to dog or similar to every animals, since they will have less ability to digest the feed, and there is susceptibility, or they are susceptible for becoming obese. Therefore, we should not provide more energy. Instead of that, we have to provide more protein to them. And supplementation of vitamins and minerals is very essential, very, very essential during the old age. Not only to the cat, not only to the dog, I think for other livestock also, or in case of human being also, these things are very, very essential. And dogs and cats, they are pet animals. So like nowadays, they are very important, particularly for the veterinarian's point of view. Not only you should know their treatment, not only you should know their surgical procedures, gynecological things. Along with these, you should also know very well about the nutritional aspect. That means these type of things you will be facing in the field. That means the owner will come and suggest what I will provide in the breakfast, what I will provide in the dinner, what I will provide in the lunch. In that case, what you have to ask her or him, that what you have to provide and what type of things you can purchase from the market. And accordingly, depending on the body weight or depending on the condition of the cat or dog, you can decide how much energy, protein, and that way you can suggest to them a very good balanced diet. Okay, so for that you just go through these things, and I think it will be helpful to you. Okay, thank you. It is already 10:59. I think again you have class or not? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You have class, no, from 11?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Any question?
No, sir.
If you do not have any question, then I'm just concluding. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.